and, check them up, clean them out, take off some of the dead leaves, and if there are any flower buds, flowers coming on the geraniums, you might want to pinch those off. And flowers are often the first things that will go moldy, so that'd be something that's a good suggestion. All right, now my plant of the week is Hamamelis mollis, or the witch hazel. I know in the coastal regions they're in full bloom, and some of them even finishing already. But here in the Okanagan, ours are just budding up, and some are actually starting to bloom. So in the month of February is typical for the witch hazel shrubs, and they're just a beautiful large shrub that also is known for its fabulous fall color. All right, that's my tips and plants for this week. Remember to check GrowerCoach.com, Grower Coach on YouTube.
Ken, Hamamelis mollis, there's a number of varieties, aren't there? The different colors.
Virginalis is yellow, and Vernus. There's quite a few different
Are they
ones.
all similar in hardiness?
I think they're mostly zone 5, zone 6s. And their form is a little different, though, for sure. The form's different. The flower color is different. Some of them are almost red, like very deep reddish color. Yeah. So there's a lot of different varieties, but they have these stringy, interesting-looking blooms that from a distance are very colorful, and up close they just look kind of strange.
That is strange blossom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to analyze what part of that flower is what. What's the pistil and the stamen and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
Mammillaria. That was my plant of the week, the group of cactus, one of the largest genera in the cactus family. With currently 200 known species. And I had them listed. They were listed online there, and I've got 6 of them. I got 6 mammillarias.
6 different
out
ones.
of 200 species. And then, of course, in those species, you get varieties, and it's just and cultivars and whatnot.
There's lots going on there.
Way too many plants. Most of the mammillarias are native to Mexico. While some come from the southwestern United States, the Caribbean, Colombia, Guatemala, Honduras, and Venezuela. The common name pincushion cactus refers to this genus, and the closely related Escorbarea, which is another series of cactus. It was discovered, or first named by Carl Linnaeus, which is the famous botanist, and Cactus mammillaria in 1753. 1753. So somebody, because there are no cacti in that hemisphere, except for one. Dan Bruce has mentioned there's one in Africa, one species of cactus only in that hemisphere. All the rest are from the Western Hemisphere, North and South America. And Linnaeus, of course, somebody must have brought one of these over from the Americas and put it in his lab, and he named it, deriving the name Latin mammilla nipple, referring to the tubercles that are among the distinctive features of the genus. Numerous species are commonly known as globe cactus, nipple cactus, birthday cake cactus, and fishhook cactus or pin cushion cactus. So very common too. You'll see them in the garden centers and unnamed. And the only way you can get them named, of course, is to let them bloom.
Yeah.
Well, some of the form will tell you too, but there's a lot of them that just look like
they look very similar.
Like like my little the one that ladyfinger cactus is that one there, that ladyfinger cactus. A lot of them look like that. But as soon as they bloom, you can tell the difference, and you've often said that you can tell the
connections
species
between plants. Just from the flowers.
Anyway, that's my plant of the week, and I enjoy them. I've been out in the greenhouse pampering my plants, and they're enjoying the fact that today is 3 minutes and 5 seconds longer than yesterday.
Right.
But hey, we're 1 hour and 13 minutes longer than the winter solstice. So we're an hour and 13 minutes longer. And I think in the morning you can see that when we get up to come to the station in the morning, it's light out instead of dark, and it's coming, and it's an exciting time of the year for me. I just love it.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, and speaking of excitement, today I've got a couple of things just written down to thought. How about turn-ons, gardening turn-ons? We're going to talk about gardening turn-ons. What, like...
And trends, too.
And trends.
Because there's kind of trends, and
yeah,
they're sort of not an exact same boat, but they're sort of going side by side.
Oh, yeah. Trends.
Trends.
That's one of the turn-ons is the trends.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, I go out in the, like there's people that love old cars. Well, I do too. But it's not my first passion. But I love old cars. They get me going. I mean, if I go to a car show and I see some old antique cars and preserved or restored, and all that work, I just know the work that goes into them to make them that way, and that's a turn on to me. Going fishing and getting a big trout, that's a turn on to me. Golfing sometimes it's a turn on, sometimes it's a turn off. But in gardening, there are things, and we're going to talk about later on, what just gets you going. Yes, I'm glad that happened. Yeah,
exactly.
One of the turn-ons is seeing some new growth on a plant that you thought was in decline and probably dying. And all of a sudden you see new growth on it. You go, wow, that's a turn on. I know. There's lots of turn ons in the garden. And maybe folks that are listening today might want to share one of their turn ons in the garden. If something in the garden gets you going and gets your adrenaline going and whatnot, let us know, because maybe we can share that. I'll go out and just do whatever you do. So I've also got today, before the show ends, I'm going to give you my timing for seeding in this area. Now, it's changed a little bit. You're going to be probably a week or 10 days or even 2 weeks earlier if you're in Victoria. But Penticton will be about the same as us in Kelowna for starting seeds and cuttings. And I've got a whole list of what we can start now and kind of the timing as the year. And there's nothing etched in stone exactly. It all depends on what the final results you want. When you want that plant to be put out in the garden, what your facilities are like. What do you have for facilities to grow these plants and whatnot? So we can talk about that as we go through the show today. And the big thing for us, Ken and I, really enjoy your calls, and that's what the bottom line is on the Garden Show. We've been doing this since 1983, and it's the calls, as Bill Henderson in Chilliwack says, without no audience, there just ain't no show. And so there you go. Ken and I are here waiting for your calls when we come back with the Garden Show after this short break. We are back with you, and what a beautiful day it is today. I mean, there's absolutely no frost at night. It's just ridiculous, actually. But we'll see. We got to get out of February before we can sort of take a deep breath and be okay. Maureen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I was excited to hear about what you were going to be talking about today, because the thing that I get so excited about when you're talking about what turns you on in the garden is when I get to order some seeds and they arrive.
Yeah, that's a good turn on. That's a good turn on. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness, I just can't wait. But the thing that I like most are growing zinnias, and so I ordered some. They're sitting there on the windowsill. But my question was, and I also have a quick question about my amaryllis. But the thing that I wonder about with the zinnias is, I don't have a grow light. I don't have a whole bunch of windowsills or anything. I usually start them indoors, right, and then put them out. But I just don't think I have room for all of the zinnias that I purchased. What do you recommend? Do you recommend putting them right out in the garden?
Well, you mean sowing them into the garden?
Yeah, sowing.
Yeah, you can do that, but of course you're going to have to be late in your productivity.
I know.
But here's the deal: as long as you're not heading south for the winter and whatnot, and you have some time and you're passionate about what you do, just having something portable. We have lovely days through the spring, even in February and March and whatnot. Lovely days in the daytime. It's just those night temperatures that really do us some harm. So if you can have something portable, where you can roll if you grow your plants, you roll them out of the carport or do something like that on a table, on a rack, and grow them outside, and then bring them back in. Another thing you can do to stretch your year out and be able to do what you're wanting to do is to build a cold frame. A cold frame, ideally a cold frame on the south side of the house against a window that you can open and let a little heat in.
That sounds fantastic. I think I'd be able to do that.
If you got a spot like that, boy, you can really get ahead of the game. You want to be able to open it from the outside. Possibly, I mean, if you're really cool, you could have the window open in the inside, and you could actually reach your plants from the inside of the house. I mean, that would be a bonus. But so a cold frame, hot pad, you put a little heating pad in the cold frame too to help with that. There's all sorts of things you can do, but you got to work at it. It's not something you can do. If you have a greenhouse like I do, that's still a lot of work, but I don't have to move the plants around. I just,
Well, that's the thing. I don't mind the work. I like being outside. I'm outside most of the time, but it's just that it's just carrying them in and out of the house and up and down the stairs and all over the kitchen table. It doesn't seem like enough room, but I like starting them early because I want to get earlier color.
Absolutely, and invest in a cold frame. I think, and you can get a fairly elaborate cold frame too. That's almost a pseudo greenhouse that goes against.
Whoa, that would be so fun. The other question I quickly have is, and I always ask every year about amaryllises because I still don't quite know what I'm doing, but I have one that I bought at a local garden center. It bloomed beautifully. Like I'm talking December 24th. Beautiful. And so it's had really beautiful long leaves and it's right in my windowsill. It's starting to topple over. I don't know. I think I'm supposed to let those leaves stay on there to feed the bulb, right? But do I have to keep it in the window, or can I move it somewhere else? And I plan to put it out in the sun this summer.
This is the amaryllis. Just keep it near a window as much as you can because, as you say, the foliage feeds the bulb. Replenishes. Yeah. So that's what I would do. Get it as much as you can into a sunny window to let it grow. When the weather is, I would say the 20th of May or 24th of May, depending on what the weather's like. Get it outside, either in the pot or, and I'll tell you the same idea. If you've got the time to do it, put it out in the daytime and bring it in at night.
But wait till it's a bit warmer.
Well, as long as it's 10 or above, 10 degrees or above, I think leaving that amaryllis out in the daytime is not going to hurt it a bit. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to help it.
Yeah. Well, the other one is I had a brand new amaryllis from last year, and I think I cut the leaves off because it's not blooming. Like it's just sitting there. It's just basically, it's alive, I think. Yeah. But do I get rid of it now? Or
No. So just tell me the history. You got an amaryllis.
This is a beautiful amaryllis, beautiful white, I forget, Mont Blanc or something. Yes. And it was gorgeous. And I put it outside in the summer, but I didn't put it in really warm sun. I put it in kind of a shady, half shade, half sun. Dug it into the ground and brought it back in the fall or in August, I think it was. And then I just trimmed it all back, put it down in the basement over the winter, and brought it up maybe December. And not a thing is happening to it.
Nothing.
Come on.
Okay, when you put it in the pot, you gave it a good soaking?
Yeah, I gave it.
Soaking?
Well, I'm not sure I soaked it.
Well, a good soaking to begin with, and then let them go on the dry side. But a good soaking to kick them up. Yeah. Does the bulb feel firm?
Yes. Feels really firm.
I think they have a mind of their own. I mean, Ken's often said that the darn thing's got a mind of their own.
Please do something. But if it doesn't do anything this year at all, do I just try again next year? Like, how will it get its food to regrow?
Well, get it planted. If it doesn't throw any foliage or blossom, the thing might have some issues inside, some disease or something going on. But like I say, I've seen them act awfully funny and not reliable whatsoever. So I would put it in a pot, get it in a windowsill, and water it well, and then just let it go on the dry side and see if it shoots. I've got a feeling you'd be fine.
Okay, good. I'm going to hang on to it. Okay, thank you for your help.
Thanks for the call. Take care.
Okay,
thanks for calling.
And as we approach the time to take another break here at the bottom of the hour, one of the things. Okay, I'm going to just give you a couple of my turn-ons, Ken? I bet you've got some turn-ons too.
Yeah, I'm still liking gardening.
Gardening turn-on, yeah. Well, one of my turn-ons that I get excited about when I see this happening is when I see a young person really embrace gardening. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever seen a young person that's embracing gardening with their phone, unless they're looking up some plant issue online. But normally they leave their phones alone when they're out there gardening, and I think that's a pretty cool thing. Hey, fat, healthy root crops. So often when you're disappointed with your radishes, like Donnie's with his radishes right now, these radishes he's growing, he reports to me every week at what's going on with the radishes. Great tops, beautiful, healthy plants, but no bottoms. And so, something with radishes, I've had that happen too. It's disappointing. Sometimes when I'm growing them in planter boxes, they don't do as well as if they're in the soil. I think they need cool roots.
And they need to be outside. His outside?
Yeah, he's got them in containers, but he brings them in at night.
Soil, it's got to be like that sandy sort of sandy loam type soil. Yeah, that's a trick. That's for sure. That's not easy to do, especially this time of year, and you don't have sort of the heat in the daytime. Which, even though it's often not much where we are here, we get a little bit of an increase in the daytime, but you still need that.
Yeah.
And at this time of year, sometimes like we're getting 4 degrees Celsius in the day and 3 degrees at night. It's not much.
Well,
much to go on.
They are a cool crop. I get my radishes out real early.
They like to freeze. They're fine to freeze.
He's playing with them, having fun with it.
Yeah.
But like I say, when you grow something that's supposed to be underground and you dig to get your turnips and your radishes and your beets and your whatever, and there's nothing there, it's just root, it's disappointing.
Yes.
So one of the things that I call a gardening turn-on is when you dig your potatoes and there's a whack of them, or you dig your radishes and they're
carrots
big, fat,
are nice
and the carrots are
formed.
good.
Yeah,
that's a turn-on to me to see those root crops healthy. Bumper crops of any kind is a turn-on. My grapes, I can't tell you, I am eating raisins every morning. I have a little bit of raisins on my cereal or whatever. They are delicious, and they've kind of got a bite to them. They're not the raisins, sun-ripe or whatever, sun-kissed raisins that you get from California.
Well, some of those are sugar-coated too, right? So.
Oh, I guess. I certainly didn't.
Yours are not sugar-coated.
Mine have got that bite to them.
Really,
it's really
a little
quite
tangy,
good. And our little
taste,
granddaughter, Audrey, just loves them. Loves those grapes.
That'll wake you up. Nice little jolt of sugar.
Another one is discovering a new plant. I mean, you and I both, and we're looking for folks out there, listening audience today. What's your turn on? What gets you going in the garden when you see something? What keeps you gardening? What makes you want to get out there and do your thing because you're expecting that adrenaline rush when you see one of these turn-ons? Discovering a new plant is definitely a turn-on for us. Like, oh, I haven't seen that one before. Can I have one? Can I have a piece? And that's why I don't let Dan Bruce in the greenhouse with his shears alone. Because and I mentioned new growth on a plant that's in decline. That's a real turn on to me. When I think something's dying or dead, and all of a sudden you go in the greenhouse and there's new growth coming on it, you go, wow, that's a turn on. One of them is really nice, healthy roots. When I tip a plant out of a pot to transplant it or put it in somewhere else, and I see these white roots, healthy little hair roots and everything, just happy roots. That's a turn on to me, because we've seen over the years, not healthy roots, and that's not a fun thing. And the other turn on that's pretty basic is seeing seeds germinate. When my little cacti, my Lophophora cacti, started germinating, that was a turn on. I thought, ooh, this is it. I'm germinating cactus seed, which is really quite something, So those are some turn-ons. If you have any gardening turn-ons you want to share, hey, give us a shout. 250-862-2525 or 1-888-780-5800. 4273 if you're calling from anywhere out of the Kelowna area. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we're going to take a short break right now. At the bottom of the hour, we got Dan Bruce waiting to say hello to us and give us his words of wisdom. And we will be back with the Garden Show after this short break. Well, here we are on a Saturday morning, a beautiful Saturday morning, a little bit cloudy out there. There's not much sunshine showing through, but the clouds mean perhaps some rain, and more than likely and really needed is snow in the mountains. We need some snow. Dan Bruce is on the line with us. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
How's it going today?
Well, we had some rain last night. That was okay.
That's really good. Yeah, I like
I
that. Yeah.
deliberately caused the rain.
Oh, good.
I did it personally
Well,
because I left the car window open.
Oh, of course, that works. I've done that before, too. So
Yeah.
last time it rained.
It'll bring it on.
yeah.
So some friends of mine in Norfolk in England sent me a newspaper clipping. It's quite a lengthy one. It's out of the Financial Times, which isn't something that I would normally read or even have available, but it harks back a little bit to the business of the Palm House at Kew, because this is the Millennium Seed Bank, which is housed at Wakehurst. Wakehurst is in Sussex. That is Kew Gardens' sort of country manor.
Okay.
The terrain at Kew is dead flat. The soil is terrible. The climate is awful. It's right in the suburbs of London. So quite a few years ago, Kew acquired the Wakehurst Place estate, which is much more amenable to gardening. It's there that they have established this seed bank.
Cool.
At the moment, it's just celebrated, I think, its 25th anniversary. The seed bank, that is. And they're saying that there's approximately 2.5 billion seeds in this collection, which is kept in a high-tech underground vault, series of vaults, and the seeds are kept at -20. So this has been going now for a few years, and the cooperation from botanic gardens, governments, individuals, organizations around the world has been amazing and encouraging.
So what's the purpose? Let's for folks that wonder, well, why would you want a seed bank? But what's the purpose behind this, Dan?
Well, the first one and the obvious one is that if some plant species were to become extinct in the wild, then there are seeds that can be germinated and the plant replaced. So these seeds are collected from the wild.
All of them, or some of them are cultivated?
I think all of them are collected from the wild.
Okay, native species, right? Okay.
Yes, and they, as I said, the cooperation has been great, and there are a number of cases where this seed bank has been used. So.
And where is it located? This Wakefield, is that located fairly close to Kew, or is it?
Wakehurst is in Sussex. It's south of Kew.
South of Kew, okay.
It's West Sussex.
Right. Is that can the public go and see what they're doing there, or is that
the public is certainly welcome at Wakehurst, but I don't. I would be certain that the public can't go into the.
Well, no, not into the seed bank, but they would have literature there about it, and
Wakehurst has, it's extensive grounds, and that awful hurricane that hit England in, what was it, 89?
Oh, right. And that knocked a lot of trees down at Kew.
Yeah. That was devastating, but Wakehurst was badly hit. And the plantings have now been replaced, and it's all coming back together.
Oh, cool. So that we've got a couple of tours possibly lined up for next year to the old country, to UK, garden tours per se, and I should have a look and see if Wakehurst is on that list of gardens we might visit. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's a cool thing. Now there's other seed banks in the world. I think there's one in Norway or somewhere up there. There's a seed bank of sorts.
There are several of them in various places, but you can't have too many.
No, that's right. Yeah.
And there's still a lot of research going on as to how long seeds remain viable. There's
some are different than others, of course.
Yes, and a number of them are not known exactly yet, but there was a case where some seeds that were collected in 1805, I think it was, has now been germinated. That was in 2006.
Huh.
And the plant is in one of the temperate house at Kew.
In the temperate house. Is that being revamped as well? Because the temperate house and the palm house are adjacent to each other, I think.
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
and,
so I think that whole thing's being revamped.
The temperate house. Last time I was at Kew, I think they were doing some minor fix-its on it, but it wasn't under major reconstruction.
Well, hopefully we get back there next year and we'll have a look.
There are, of course, people who say, well, the seeds that came out of the tombs in Egypt are viable and they grow wheat. Well, technically that's a correct statement, but then on the other hand, you have to realize that the seeds that were found in the tombs, these are tombs that have been open for 300 or 400 years, and the local people use them as sheds where anything is kept. Yeah. From old furniture to livestock to bags of seed. So yes, you find some grains of wheat on the floor of these things, and they will certainly grow.
But they're not 4,000 years old.
No.
There was a story though a few years ago, and I think it was quite viable. This is before all this artificial intelligence and all that stuff. This is way back in the 80s. Maybe I remember doing some reading about it. There was a magnolia, the seed, in China, that was very, very, very old, and they got it to germinate. There was a story about that. I'm not sure whether it was true or not. I can tell you this, Dan. My grandfather had these radish seeds. They were forcing radish seeds, and a big bag of them from Stokes. And my grandfather died in a car crash in 1952. So the first time I saw this bag of seeds was about 1966, when I was 16 years old, and I was doing some cleanup in the seed store room, and I found this big bag of radish seeds. So I thought, oh, isn't that interesting? They must be at least at that point they must have been at least 15 years old. And so I thought, interesting. So I planted a few. They all germinated. 15-year-old seeds just sitting in the greenhouse shed. I started germinating those seeds every year just as a fun experiment. In 1977, my father-in-law was working for us, Donna's dad, and he's Mr. Clean. And he saw this old bag of seeds and he just threw it out. So I stopped doing the experiment. But for 20 years, these radish seeds germinated 100% every year.
Yes. Well,
So, I mean, some seeds are better than others. Onion seeds, we found, Ken, that just you can't keep them over the year. Second year for onion seeds is not very good. But, tomato seeds, pepper seeds, lots of seeds will stay. And we did keep them in the freezer, a lot of them in the freezer. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned magnolia. At Kew, they've experimented successfully. There is a magnolia native to the Dominican Republic in the Caribbean.
Oh.
And it became, essentially extinct. And Kew had seed of it supplied by the government of the Dominican Republic. And there it was, able to be replaced.
Well, that's a turn on right there.
Yes.
Dan, thanks. We got to run. I appreciate your call, and that was a great conversation. Take care.
I will.
Okay, buddy.
Thanks.
Bye
Thanks,
now.
Dan. Bye-bye.
That was a turn on. These gardening turn-ons has got me going here because I think that's what keeps us going. That's why we love gardening. That's why we love the industry. Certainly there's some turn-offs, but the turn-ons keep you going. And that's what we do. 250-862-2525 to join us here, or 1-888-780-4273 if you're calling from anywhere out of town. I'm interested in that Wakehurst thing that Dan talked about, how I'm going to be interested in perhaps seeing if we can incorporate that in our trip. If we do the trip. We're still working on it, but it's we're just having a meeting next week to decide, what we're going to do there, and we will definitely make some plans, and we will let you folks out there know. You'll be the first to know about our plans, and do we have time before the break for Cindy? Yeah, we're going to talk to Cindy just before our break here.
Good morning, guys.
Hey,
how are you?
We're well.
Great. A couple of quick questions is when I've got a couple of mountain ashes and then I've got a red maple. I'm wanting to sort of prune the tops of them. When can I do that? And do you think it's too soon? We'll probably end up getting another cold snap?
You can prune them. There's no problem pruning them. But boy, when you say take the tops off, kind of scares arborists.
Yeah, I know. What it is it's kind of going out of control, and so I'm just wanting to take sort of the wayward branches off that are kind of going every which way.
Can you email me? I'm going to send you my handout for pruning.
Oh, perfect. That would be delightful.
I just don't want to, I hate it when I drive around, I see trees have been molested.
I know, right? It's terrible. The other question I have is, I was talking to my neighbor, and she's a little bit wiser on these things than me, but I did have someone prune one of my mountain ashes last year, and I think they did a butcher job on it, and the poor bark is splitting everywhere. What can I do to help that?
Probably not due to the pruning, the splitting bark. Where is the bark splitting? Like everywhere you say, like all the branches, or is it just more on the trunk? On the trunk. And is it on the southwest side of the trunk?
It's yeah.
Well, there's a thing. I haven't seen too much of this on mountain ash. I've seen it on maples quite a bit and others, and apple trees and others. Southwest damage is when it gets very, very cold in the winter, like we did 2 years ago in February, with some snow on the ground and a bright sunny day. And it's called southwest damage. The sun reflects off the snow onto the trunk, melts the trunk down, and then at night the trunk freezes again, and it causes tissue damage. And then the trunk is you get the splitting, you get the sunken tissues and whatnot. So that's called southwest damage. If you look that up on the internet, southwest damage on trees, and that might be the answer to that. Technically, it's probably going to not be long term. Trees have a real good way of occluding the wounds, and they have this thing called codet, which is the compartmentalization of the disease. So it it compartmentalizes everything, and then new wood comes over top of that to seal things off.
It's been going on for about a year, and it just seems as though it's starting to affect on the other side of the tree too. And I'm just wondering.
Well, there could be fungal problems too. I mean, do you see any sign of conchs or mushrooms?
No, nothing like that. Somebody said to me it's water deprived.
Well, it's hard to say. You're from the Okanagan?
Yeah.
It could be. I mean, but I've seen mountain ash survive.
No, mountain ash. Are we talking about mountain ash for sure?
Yes.
Yeah, so they're completely drought tolerant, and they're actually more damaged by
too much water.
By too much water, and one of the symptoms is fire blight, and what fire blight causes is a papery look to the bark, where it starts peeling off, and it turns sort of a brown, sort of a muddy brown sort of color.
Okay.
And then the leaves stick on the trees sometimes and get a real chocolatey brown sort of color.
Similar, yeah.
And if you get that,
like it's doing that a bit.
Yeah, that could be the end of the tree. Fire blight's pretty difficult, if not impossible, to deal with. And the worst thing you can do is have rainy weather.
So
it's common. It's common on mountain ash too, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when they're overwatered.
Yeah.
So that's the sort of the opposite.
Maybe I'll get a photo and send it to you guys.
That's a good plan. And also get my sheet on pruning. Yeah, my brochure on pruning, or not as a brochure. It's an actual handout, so it gives you all sorts of things. We're going to have to run.
Thanks so much.
We appreciate your call. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with the Garden Show after this short break. Okay, Ken, getting close to the middle of the show here. Every week I've been, just for fun, because I did this way back in the 80s. Every week I had a joke. And I'm trying to kind of get a joke every week right now. And mine is the joke for this week. So, guy says to another fellow, he says, "What's your favorite thing to do at work?" And he says, "I hide." He says, "Well, why would you do that?" He says, "Well, good workers are hard to find." Hey, what the hell?
There you go.
That's another joke. Good workers are hard to find. And he's hiding in a little corner. I don't know. I'm going to make Audrey, our little granddaughter, because her dad, Nick, is an avid golfer. He was a 12 handicap at one point. Almost hit 10 handicap. And still a good golfer. And anyway, so Audrey is going to get herself a little tiny putter. And Nick says, make the putter so it putts on both sides, because Nick's left-handed. So he thinks Audrey might. Yet. You don't know yet, but Audrey might be. So we're making the putter work.
Remember
both
those
ways.
old putters they used to have that were just like a little hockey stick?
Jack Nicklaus putters, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, you betcha. Okay, we've got Peter calling in. Morning, Peter.
Morning.
Hey.
Morning.
Hey, gents. Good. Love to listen to you guys every Saturday morning.
Thank you, sir.
So here you go. Here's your one-liner for today. It's more of an adage than a pun, but it's judge each day not by the harvest, but by the seeds you plant.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a goodie. Yeah.
That gets deep,
so, quickly, so I planted the seedlings in my kitchen counter. I got a big island here, and I've got walla onions. I planted some seed, and I got about 200 sprouts coming up. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I've painted myself into a corner here, because I'm wondering, what do I do with them? Can I put them in the garden fairly early with maybe a cold frame?
I wouldn't. Well, you could with a cold frame, I suppose. I wouldn't put them out. They're so used to being inside right now. I wouldn't put them out when the weather gets like frosty. But definitely right now, with this weather like it is, you're in Kelowna, right? You're in Lakeview?
Lakeview.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely. The weather the way it is, just watch the weather like a hawk, but get them outside. They're fine in this weather.
Yeah, they like the cool temperatures.
They're fine in this weather, yeah.
And once they harden up after a month or so, then they'll be...
Then you can plant them out.
Then they're probably good to go.
Put the seedlings, put them out at night and bring them in, or put them out during the day and bring them in at night, or something?
Leave them out at night if it's not freezing at night, and it hasn't been freezing at night. So just leave them out.
Okay.
Yeah. And then once they harden off, it takes usually about 3 weeks of these, leaving them out. And then, once they harden up, then you could potentially put them out in a cold frame, no problem, or even plant them in the garden, depending on the weather. I think I'd still wait until into March and look at the temperature. But in March, that's fine, even if it's freezing a little. Keeping them in and out like that just hardens them up, and they get used to the cold.
But just leave them outside as long as it's not freezing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not freezing.
Keep them close to the house, so somewhere where even if it did get a little nip of frost, it's not going to bother them.
Well, I've got a big covered deck and a table out there, so I can, keep them at least sort of. But okay, that's great. Thanks.
You wouldn't
gentlemen.
want to do that with tomatoes, but you can do it with onions.
Okay. Appreciate you guys.
Okay.
Thanks for all your help.
Well, that's
Have a good
fun.
day.
Yeah,
Thanks
take
for
care.
calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do if you kind of think about what the weather's like. I mean, now folks that are heading off to Palm Springs or to Mexico, Puerto Vallarta or whatever, different story. You've got to be careful. I mean, we're heading out in April to Sunshine Coast and then up through over to Comox and then down the island, and we're going to be at Abkhazia Gardens on the 12th of April. And that trip, I have to organize like crazy my greenhouse, because by that time, by early April, I've got seedlings started. And so, yes, the succulents can take care of themselves for 10 days, but my seedlings and fresh started plants can suffer. So I have to have someone come in. Generally speaking, my good friend and brother-in-law, Don Stoltz, does it for me, because he's a greenhouse manager at one point, and hey, he knows what he's doing. Now, who's going to take care of Molly, though? The dog. We've got to get a dog sitter to take care of the dog while
You
we're
can
away.
take it down to the Bark and Fly place, and they take care of it. They do a great job. The only problem is when you go to get them back, they don't want to come home because they're like on vacation there, and it's fun. They get played with all the time, and they get all the
So
food.
they take an elderly pug?
Oh, anything.
And where is this place, Ken?
There's 2 or 3 places in Kelowna you can call.
Really?
Yeah, that babysit your dog for you if you go on vacation. We've done that. Our cat, one time we went for 5 weeks, and when we got back, our cat's just like, "Are you out of your mind? I'm not going back with you."
Well,
You know
that's
how
cats.
nice it
so
is
that's-
here. Well,
that's cats.
it's pretty cush, And then every couple hours, somebody comes in and plays with them and gives them all snacks and stuff, and they're just like, "Yeah, this is the place to be." And then they go like, "What? Go back home? No way." But it's I think it's kind of a nice
that's a
thing
good-
to
that's
have
a good
when
thing,
people do have to go, that you do have that backup.
Yeah.
If needed.
Well,
yeah.
we're not going to be away long, but that's the problem when you've got, a lot of folks say to me, well, why don't you come down to Mexico for 5 weeks or something, And, I don't know.
Someone's got to look after the fish.
Who's going to
What
look
about the
after?
fish? You got to take your fish tank down there. Get them. They have to feed it every day, every second day. I know you don't
fish.
have fish.
We don't have fish. Lisa used to have lots of fish. Our daughter used to love fish. But no, that's one thing we don't have. But we do have plants, and we do have, and this time of year, if we were away, it wouldn't be quite as bad because the succulents really are very reasonable to look after.
Oh yeah.
I go in there every day and I just look around, and there's only a few things that need attention. I've got some geraniums that are rooted cuttings, and I've got some plectranthus rooted cuttings, and I've got some of the little, the little basket stuffers I've got rooted from my last year, so I don't have to go out and buy a bunch. And but other than that, all my other stuff is pretty. All my pachypodiums and all that stuff is pretty well self-sufficient in the winter. One good watering, most of the cactus are fine, but you do have to keep your eyes open. Dan Bruce has accused me of not watering enough. But I think
in the wintertime too, you got to be careful, because if you overwater, then it's
big time rot.
See you later. Those things will just disappear. But you got to watch that shriveling. I look for the shriveling leaves. When they start to shrink or get really thin, especially we're talking about succulents here.
Yeah.
They really are noticeable. And when you see that, then you just have to very carefully, very gradually add in the water a bit at a time, just the right amount. If you're worried, like I've said many, many, many times, is just put a little bit of water down the right-hand side of the pot, a little bit down the left-hand side, and repeat that maybe 2 or 3 times, just in small quantities, and let some parts of the soil remain dry, because those roots, sometimes the roots like to be a bit on the dry side for those succulents and cactus especially.
And drainage is so important. That's why drainage is so important.
I have cactus that I dug out of some planters, and I just threw them into a pot, like laying on the surface.
Yeah.
And they're just laying there, roots sticking out, and they're just fine.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
just waiting. They're in a state of dormancy that, it'll break, I'm sure, at some point, but then I'll pot them back up. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, I have a Hawarthia that I've ripped apart, and I got a bunch of babies. So they're, it's fun. A lot of fun at this time of year. We're going to take a short break here for the news and whatnot at the top of the hour, and we are going to be back with the Garden Show after this short break. It's interesting how when you are on a platform like Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and the algorithms now that are happening, like all I did was go into a website that talked about gardening tricks, and now I'm getting all these gardening tricks coming onto my Facebook page and whatnot. One of the gardening tricks, and some of them are all right. I mean, and I can shut things off if I don't like what I'm seeing every time. But this is kind of neat. The umbrellas that you have, that you gardening patio umbrellas, and you wind them up, and there's a framework and whatnot. And the first thing to go in those is usually the umbrella itself gets deteriorated from sun and whatnot. And so now you're left with the frame. What do you do with the frame? Well, it was showing us tomato cages with the frame sort of half erected and just kind of sticking on the ground, so that there was all this framework, and there was a tomato growing inside one, there was a bean growing, in another, and it's just one way of recycling or reusing something that normally would just get thrown in the landfill,
Yeah.
Or out,
It's nice to reuse and recycle for sure, and stuff like that. That's almost a no-brainer. There's some pretty cool things you could do with that.
Yeah. Another one I've seen, because we don't see them much anymore, but I've got a picture of it actually, is a recycled disc. They used to have the big discs to bring in the TV signals from the satellites, satellite discs, the big huge ones, right? And I saw one turned upside down with hanging baskets hanging all through it, and it was turned upside down. So it was like an umbrella with hanging baskets hanging on it. There are all sorts of garden things you can do. And I know a lot of people take these garden ornaments, the big garden ornaments, like old car or a plow or a hay fork, a harvester or whatever. A lot of gardeners doesn't fit every garden, but those things can look nice. Like there's a gentleman out on Lakeshore that I keep wanting to go and see, and this is for the last 20 years I've wanted to drop in. He's got an old car in his garden, and of course the garage, he's one of these guys that's full of, he's got old antique gas pumps and things like that in the yard. And for 20 years I wanted to drop in and say hello. I love what you do, blah, blah, blah. Haven't done it. I'm going to do it. Hopefully he's going to be around for a while. Anyway, if Donna and I have often said lately, if you're going to do something, let's do it. Just do it, because if you want to do something, you feel like doing something, do it. And that's the key, isn't it, to get that done? So what have I got here? Something going on. We've got lots going on, actually, and we're going to talk about how the seeding schedules. I did a lot of research on that, and I think that's a good thing to do right now, because there are some real do's and don'ts and starts and not starts and that sort of thing with the seeding schedules. And here we go. This is what we do. Indoor start early. Starting seeds indoors 4 to 8 weeks before the last frost, late February to April, allows, this is, in other words, late February to April is the start, allows for a head start. In February, it can begin early, slow-growing annuals like geraniums, begonias, coleus, impatiens, and verbena. These are all slow-growing annuals that you can start early. In March, you can start your petunias, your marigolds, your cosmos, your snapdragons, asters, and alyssum. And I got some of this from Mom's notes, that she used to do for her seeding schedules in the greenhouse. And so that is a little different than a house situation. You don't have the same facility as you do with a greenhouse.
Yeah.
But still, you can use this as a guideline. Late April, early May, sow hardy annuals directly, such as sweet peas, calendula, and poppies, right into the garden. Mid-May, asters, after frost risk, sow heat-loving annuals directly into the ground, including zinnias, cosmos, nasturtiums, and sunflowers. Late May, early June, plant tender annuals such as marigolds and petunias and begonias once the soil is warmed up. Key timing indicators, instead of relying strictly on dates, local gardeners often use this. Plant when daffodil blooms fade. Begin sowing seeds for hardier annuals. Plant when lilacs bloom. Safe to direct sow warmer annuals. Wait until May long weekend, the safest bet for tender annuals, petunias, and impatiens to avoid cold-induced stunted growth. And regional tips for the Okanagan would be microclimates. The Okanagan has varying microclimates. Higher elevations will have later frost dates than the lake level bottom. So you got to remember where you live in the Okanagan. And we're talking Okanagan, but you can relate this to just add 2 weeks, I think, in Victoria. Soil temperature for tender annuals, ensure soil temperature are at least 11 degrees Celsius before planting your tender annuals. And that's the old saying back in the day. I had Ruth Rushton, a customer of mine, a dear woman that was an avid gardener, and she gave us all sorts of tips like protecting her hydrangeas and that sort of thing. She said that her grandfather said to her, don't plant your garden out with warm, heat-loving annuals until the ground feels comfortable to the bare bottom. In other words,
the ultimate in phenology.
Yeah, you can sit on the ground with your bare bottom, and if it feels warm, it's comfortable, the plants will love it. So there you go. That's part of it. Watering annuals require frequent watering, 2 to 3 times per week, increasing to daily during the hot Okanagan dry summer. Hardening off, gradually introduce indoor growing seedlings to the outside by placing them in a shade for short periods before planting. And we talk about hardening off, both the coast and the Okanagan, but in particular the Okanagan. When plants are grown inside, whether they're in a greenhouse or whether they're in a house, when they get outside, it's a different sun, and they get burnt, right? It's like us in the spring. We go out and we can get burnt if we aren't careful. Now, I don't think there's any sunscreen for plants. Not that I know of. There could be.
Oh, they have their own sunscreen.
Right, but so in other words, hardening them off, easing them into that situation.
Yeah, they'll develop the chemicals that reduce the effects of the sun are increased over time. Through via hormones and whatnot within the plants.
Yeah.
So they do have their own sunscreen inside the plant, and then over time also this may also increase things like the epidermis on the leaf or the cuticle on the leaf sometimes gets a little thicker, which is like a waxy layer on the outside. But yeah, there's always ways plants can deal with it. But they don't do it overnight.
No, that's right.
It takes a week or so for them to adapt. So
a sure sign.
A little bit at a time.
And a sure sign of a burn, of sunburn, scald, is it turns white.
Yeah.
Like the geraniums. White. You put your geraniums
Incineration.
Why are my geraniums all turning white?
Well, and that's where we're talking about putting onions out right now. This time of year, you don't have to worry about sunburn.
No, not sun. It's just cold.
But in the summertime, if you're taking stuff like, say, in May and you're seeding things and just putting them straight outside, well, they'll be incinerated like so fast. So, that time of year, you have to integrate it in gradually. And so hardening off in the wintertime has to do with getting them used to the cold temperatures outside and in the spring. But then after that, you're actually getting them used to the heat temperatures and the full hot sun, which you have to do gradually.
Yeah, it's incredible what's going on right now. In the greenhouse, I'm starting to look over all my containers and cleaning up. I didn't do it last fall. It was one of the tips of the week, too, and I didn't
You didn't follow your own tip of the week?
Follow my own tip of the week. Got too wrapped up in things. So right now I've got my big wash tub out there. I got at Value Village, not Value Village, but the Restore place. I got one of those plastic laundry tubs, the white plastic laundry tubs. and it's just ideal for working outside. I mean, you don't have to have it plumbed in or anything, but you've got the plug and you can fill it full of warm water or whatever and do your washing outside and slap around and don't worry about a thing. You start washing those dirty old pots indoors and it's a little bit messy. But right now, with the weather the way it is, I'm going to be out there washing pots. And I use just a dish soap and then a little bit of alcohol spritzer at the end of the day when they're all dry. I give them a little alcohol
isopropyl
spritzer.
alcohol will usually sterilize surfaces, get rid of diseases.
Yeah. That brings up a point, too, and we're going to talk about this after the break, but we do want to hear from you, folks. We love hearing from our listeners because that's what this is all about. And if you've got any gardening turn-ons you want to talk about, hey, I am definitely interested in hearing. We are definitely interested in hearing about that. And I just got a text from our good friends Teresa Hodge, and of course we'll be seeing Teresa and Charlie tonight because we're going to watch the game. It's going to be an interesting thing. We've got Toronto fans and we got Vancouver fans in the same room, and Toronto and Vancouver are playing tonight at 4 o'clock, and we're going to be sitting there cheering both teams on because we both like both teams. Anyway, she's got some umbrella skeletons that grow beans, peas, flowers, and an old table with no glass and grow squash under it with a tire in the center. New addition to the frame of my old temporary shed in the back garden, grow beans and peas. What an avid gardener she is. And we're looking forward to seeing Charlie and Teresa tonight. And, and she says the tub holds lots of beer too. Well, there you go. We're going to take a short break here and come back with your calls after these messages. Well, it was 2 degrees this morning in our backyard. It was 1 degree at the UBCO station out in Ellison, and 20 degrees in the greenhouse. It was 9 degrees in Victoria, according to my records here, and 5 in Penticton. Highs of 7 in Kelowna, 11 in Victoria, and 7 in Penticton are predicted for today. Pretty mild for January 31st. This is the last day. And interesting, Ken, this is one of the very few months where we have 5 garden shows in the month. We started with, this is our 5th garden show of the new year. And normally in a month you get 4 garden shows. Sometimes the odd one is only 3 because of the way things work out. But we've got 5 this. So you got a plate full this spring, this January, and boy, the weather is crazy warm. And as I say, the days are getting longer, which is really fun. In the greenhouse, all of a sudden, in another month, you watch those plants jump in the greenhouse, pop, yeah. and hopefully I get some new growth on my cardboard palm. It's not looking that good. I lost my sago palm, and now the cardboard palm is looking. And I've had these plants for 20 years. That's a turnoff. When you lose plants, that's a turnoff. But what turns me on is the fact that a plant like that, like my ficus, my big heavy-rooted ficus, that I thought was a desert rose, and it's not. Dan Bruce pointed out, no, that's not a desert rose, that's a ficus. Oh, okay. Because I asked him, I said, why isn't my desert rose blooming? And he says, because it's not a desert rose.
That's why that thing never blooms.
That's right. And so, but, and it died right down to the stump. And I thought, that's it, it's done. It was almost in the green bin. Little tiny shoots started coming. That's a turn on. That's a good thing.
It's back.
Oh yeah, we like that. Nothing wrong with that. We want to talk about the fact that CD Sunday's coming up, and pretty quickly, CD Sunday will be happening. On the
7th?
Yeah, the
March.
8th, March 8th of March.
8th.
Sunday, 8th of March, and that's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. But that's another month away or so, but a month and a bit. But still, keep that in mind because it's one of the fun things to do in gardening, and it's one of the things that will turn you on. You go in there, you'll be all turned on with plant stuff, and Ken Salville will be there giving his
answering
words of wisdom.
questions.
Answering questions. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And we've got the flower the Flower Power Garden Tour coming up on June the 20th.
Mm-hmm.
Always keep that in mind, folks, when you're coming into spring. And, of course, the Kelowna Garden Club puts on their flower show in that same, might even be that same weekend where the flower show goes on, which they should maybe re-coordinate that or whatever. But they that's always a fun thing to do, the flower show. I always enter something, Donna and I enter something in the show and see what we can bring, see what kind of ribbons we can bring home. Last year, Dan Bruce and I put together a really nice display of Madagascar plants there, which was quite fun to do and very interesting for folks to see. And those Madagascar plants this year, I'm not sure what we're going to do this year. But we may do South African plants. We'll see. We've got Sally calling in from Kelowna. Good morning, Sally.
Good morning. I bought some succulents in the little 2-inch pots, and they can't go outside yet. What do you think of this idea? I put them on one of the heating pads in a south-facing window. Will the heating pad help them to survive until I can put them outside?
Well, succulents. You're talking about tropical succulents?
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't really need the heating pad unless you're trying to root some, get them started. If they're established in the pots, they don't think they need the heating pad, but they don't want to be outside. Depending on the succulents, some of the agaves and that will take a little bit of not even. Well, just down to freezing kind of thing. But most of them, 10 degrees? Ken, you always use that word, 10 degrees?
20 is their range for winter. 10 to 20 degrees.
Yeah.
Celsius.
So when the daytime temperatures come up to 10 degrees plus, you can maybe get them outside. This is what we were talking about to previous callers and chats that we've had. You got to be mobile. Get your plants mobile, because at this time of year coming up, the daytime temperatures are ideal for plants. So why have them in the house when you can put them outside? But you got to have that portability to them, and you got to have the memory too. Because I'll tell you, I've left plants out by mistake and got them nailed. So you gotta keep that in mind as well. But they don't need a heating pad indoors, Sally.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let's see. I think that's all the questions I had. But thank you very much.
You're a dear. We appreciate it. Thanks
for calling.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's that time of year when it's in and out, but that's the only way. That's the passion of gardening. That's if people want to get things done and make things happen, that's what you got to do. In and out, in and out, in and out. And we grew, Ken and I grew up in it. You pretty well grew up in the business as an early teen. You started working in the business. That's been our whole thing as you go into spring, depending on your facilities. I mean, when we had an acre of greenhouse, we also had the cool houses and the places where you could take plants and put them in a cool spot, and all the different environments that we had to create, to get through the year. That was an exciting thing. That's what we're trying to sort of give people when we talk on the radio, give that experience out to folks as well. Ron is joining us. Good morning, Ron.
Hi, Don. How are you?
I'm well.
Good. I've got kind of a different kind of question. I haven't talked to you before. I've got an old blue spruce at the front of our house, okay? It's probably 30 years old, but it's developing little brown, crusty growths at the end of the twigs. Is that something I should be concerned about?
That are they quite bulbous, these growths?
They're just, as I say, the actual twigs are all green and everything, but the tips of them are sort of a brownish. It's like a growth maybe that's dying or something like that. I don't know.
The first thing that comes to mind is spruce gall aphid.
What is it called?
Spruce gall aphid. And it's an aphid that attacks the new growth on a tree, brand new growth, and it causes the new growth to be stunted, and it forms a gall, it's a gall. And if you send Ken or I pictures of that, we can tell you right away if it's spruce gall aphid, and if it's spruce gall aphid, I can send you a form. Now that's never going to kill the tree.
Okay.
That's not a sign that the tree is in decline. It's just being attacked by this spruce gall aphid. And there's some things a person can do. I believe dormant spray would be that kind of thing.
It's all timing.
Yeah.
So you have to hire a spray company to come in and do a.
So there is something
if you tell
that
them
can be put on
once, no matter what the issue is, you got to identify it. Number one. Once you have it identified, then you can actually ask specifically, say, to a spray company and say, I've got this problem. I need the treatment for it. And then if all goes well and then the stars align, they will come out at the right time and take care of it.
First thing, though, let's identify it. So give me send a picture to email dawn@thegardenexpert.com, and I will have a look at that.
Okay, appreciate that. One other thing.
Yeah.
Just to mention it, I'm Archie's grandfather.
Wow.
So
Archie's grandfather. Well, you sound,
he's my grandson.
Sound like a good grandfather.
I mentioned that to you and such, but
well, he's off on an adventure, so
yeah, he is.
There you go.
Sure. Anyways, thanks for your help, and I'll do that, and we'll go forward and see what's going on with the tree.
Ron, thanks for giving us a shout, and we will see if we can help you with that. I think spruce gall aphid. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, have a good morning.
Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
And Archie, this is your last show with us, and we appreciate all the help you've given us over the years, over the time you've been with us. And hey, we'll talk about that. I've got a little parting gift for you too, that I made in the workshop. So we'll have to do that at the end of the show too. Let's take that bottom of the hour break, and then we will be back with the Garden Show after this short break. We are back with you for the final, the final half hour anyway of the show, and having a great time. I just want to tell you that the Abkhazi Garden Poetry Contest is pretty much underway now. This is the last day of any of the entries for that, so we want to get that in there. Donna and I are really looking forward to our visit to Victoria and the island in April, and we're going to be seeing the gardens, which was really kind of cool. I think that the efforts that people put into these show gardens are just really commendable, and we appreciate that very much. Before the show's ending today, I'm going to talk about some of the myths that come with hot peppers. Some of the myths and misconceptions surrounding hot peppers, often centered on their heat, health effects, and cultivation. And there's a list of common myths debunked by culinary and scientific research. Myths about eating hot peppers and whatnot. One of the myths is seeds hold most of the heat. In fact, the white fibrous pith or placenta inside the pepper holds the majority of the capsicum. And of course, some of that leaks off into the seed. And the capsicum, the actual chemical product, is quite oily. And we'll talk about that and reason why it's hard to get rid of the heat when you've eaten some hot pepper. How do you get rid of the heat? Water? No. We'll talk about how to do that. Elizabeth is calling in from Victoria. Hi, Elizabeth.
Good morning, gentlemen. I really enjoy your show every morning, and a special thanks to Dan Bruce. He's taught me so much. Anyway, I'm phoning about Wakehurst.
Oh, yes.
Yes. I've been fortunate enough to go there several times.
Oh, wonderful.
It's a beautiful, beautiful garden. It is the country estate for Kew Gardens, as you know. And you can see the vaults, but you can't go in them.
Right.
But it's a lovely place to wander around. They have a marvelous restaurant where you have very nice lunches. It's a day trip. But one of the things that really appeals to me is that during a pruning session or something or other, maybe 20 years or so ago, a pit was formed, and they found that this was one of which later turned to be a series of cells that had been dug just before the invasion was feared in the Second World War. And these cells were equipped with supplies for 2 men, I think it was, to last for a week, just as a harrying group to harry the invaders. And it was assumed, of course, they'd be dead long before the end of the weeks.
Interesting stuff.
Very,
yeah.
and it was just, I think it was pruning or something or other that a bough fell, and then they saw this cell. And since then, they have found quite a few more. It was one of Churchill's brainstorms.
Well, those were tough times in England, and I mean, and they were so close to the folks that were wanting to attack them that there was a lot of stuff done.
If it had an invasion, they would have been involved.
Wakefield. I'm going to make sure we try and have a visit to Wakefield if we're in I call it the old country because that's what my dad called it, the old country.
Yes. The trouble is there are so many lovely gardens to see.
Yes, we went to the Castle Gardens.
Area of Kent. This is West Sussex, but it's near to Kent.
Okay. Well, that's near the Castle Gardens too then. In the
Sissinghurst, you mean?
Sissinghurst, yes.
But
they're in Kent, are they not?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so Scotney Castle. Oh, there are so many in that area. But you can never see them all. You just have to.
That's the problem, isn't it? Well, we really appreciate that.
Big one. It's coming up to the time. Something you haven't had to bother with, but people in Victoria have. So many of us have had an invasion of lizards. And they're horrid little things. Quick darting. They grow very quickly. They're getting bigger and bigger each year. They're pests.
These are like little newts, aren't they? They're
very
newts.
fast moving.
Yeah, newts. We
people
get them around
releasing
here.
them into the wild, probably.
We get them around here. We've had them for years.
We have the Okanagan ones.
Yeah. But I don't know if I think they do more good than harm, though. I don't think they eat plants. Well, you just don't like the looks of them.
They eat a lot of beneficial insects.
Okay, well there you go.
They're young, I'm told, and which is why they spread so fast.
Mm-hmm. Well,
the young leave home quickly.
Yeah, it's like praying mantids. Everybody said, "Well, let's get some praying mantids." Well, they eat all the beneficials too, so you got to be careful.
Yes.
We really appreciate that input, and please don't hesitate to give us a shout again.
Well, I'm sure I will.
Elizabeth, take care, dear.
I've listened for years. Thank you so much.
Okay, take you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
And we have Ronnie calling in. Good morning, Ronnie.
Hi there. How you doing?
We're well.
Good.
We're well.
Good. Just one little correction on the Abkhazi thing. The entry for the poems ended on the 25th.
Oh, it did end. I'm sorry. I didn't
right.
have my notes. Yeah.
Yep, that's all right. And so I guess they're busy going through all of the poems to see which ones are going to be shortlisted.
To be or not to be? No, we won't.
To garden or not to garden.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. And you were asking about things that you really like about the garden and things like that,
yes.
In general. One thing that really gets me is I've got a 92-year-old neighbor, and she's out there practically year-round weeding her garden.
Oh.
Like, what a dear.
You see, that's just right. The opposite side of watching a young person being fascinated and interested in gardening. Hey, watching folks that are up in years and they're just saying, you know what, I've gardened all my life. This is what I'm going to carry on doing. This is what Donna and I were saying, when they have these places where folks, when they're up in years and they need some help and want to get some help, those places should have, for cooks, they should have a place where a person who loves cooking like my wife does, Donna, they should have a place where they can cook their brains out. When you hear those advertisements, you'll never have to cook again. Well, so some people it's work, but to some people they love doing it, and that's Donna's deal. Same with gardening. Never have to pull a weed. You never have to pull a weed again. Some people love pulling weeds. So
I know.
Why don't you have an area for those folks that love pulling weeds?
I keep telling her when I go by, stop doing that. You're putting the rest of us to shame.
Yeah, there you go.
And the other thing I really, really like about gardening is when you've got all your veggies all planted and you start seeing those first tomatoes coming on the plant.
Oh, the first tomato. That's a good one. That's a good turn on.
Yeah, I really, really like that. Or, the first green peas or zucchini or whatever it is you happen to have in the garden. I love it.
Yeah, well, that's what gardening's about. And, folks that aren't, it's like back in high school, the people that played in the band, that did music,
right?
We were separate from all the rest of the school because we got to go on band trips, we got to play music, we got to learn about, and some of us got into rock and roll bands because of that and all that, because we were different. The music students in high school were different, and it's the same thing about gardeners. A real avid gardener is different than the regular rest of the world. Some people, and often I've often said to somebody when I do some landscaping for them or landscape design for them, I'll say, "Are you a gardener?" And of course, when you ask that question, that comes back with various retorts. The fact is that the meaning of gardening can mean different to other people. When I say, "Are you a gardener?" They say, "Oh, I don't grow any vegetables." Well, you can still be a flower gardener. Are you a gardener? Do you have a plant in the house? Now, there are some people that are totally void of plants, of material of any kind. I've seen those yards and whatever, and that's fine. That's fine. You're probably great collecting cars or something.
Yeah.
But
anything other than something that's manual labor.
That's right. So anyway, that's a cool thing, and Ronnie, we appreciate what you do there, and we're looking forward to. I'm looking forward to meeting you in particular, but also seeing the gardens it'll be on the 12th. I think that's really what we're keying up. It'll be Sunday the 12th.
Okay, I've got that in my calendar, and I've let Cherie know.
Yeah, it'll be fun to visit.
So we just need to kind of know. You can contact Cherie, but some kind of a time frame so that we can book in for the tea room too.
Absolutely. As we get closer, we'll do that. We're just kind of finalizing our itinerary there, but we know that we're on Salt Spring on the 10th and 11th, and then on the 12th that morning we'll catch a ferry over to Victoria, and that's when we'll be seeing the Abkhazia Gardens.
Excellent. Okay. And I hope you get to see Valdi over on Salt Spring.
Well, that's what we're looking forward to. I haven't phoned him yet, but I will give him a shout. Chances are he's on the road. He's still a working guy.
Oh, I know. I've been to a couple of his concerts.
Oh, yeah. He's. I played with him up at Big White at the Cat Shop Shuffle for many years.
Nice.
And he's a great guy, and he's a gentleman that never forgets a name.
Wow.
Like I'm bad. I have a T-shirt saying, "If you were a plant, I'd remember your name." With Valdi, he just remembers your name because of your face. He's able to do that, and it's wonderful. Anyway, Ronnie, we appreciate your call and your support for the show, and we will talk to you later.
You bet.
Okay, dear.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah. So, another myth with hot peppers. Hot peppers cause ulcers or hemorrhoids. Fact, while they can irritate pre-existing conditions, they do not cause them. Myth, capsicum kills your taste buds. Fact, hot food may cause temporary numbness, but it does not kill taste buds, which regenerate every 10 to 14 days, your taste buds. Myth, drinking water relieves the burn. Fact, capsicum is hydrophobic, oil-based. Water spreads the heat around. Dairy products, mind you, and
bread.
Well, they don't mention bread, but I've talked. My dad mentioned bread, but dairy products, oil or starch, are better for reducing the burn. You can also, even if you just take a little bit of cooking oil, like canola oil or anything like that, and that will immediately get rid of that burn. That kind of thing rather than water, of course. Milk, but it has to be whole milk or cottage cheese or that kind of thing. Whipping cream would work. Yeah, whipping cream. Yeah,
something with some decent amount of fat in it.
But just don't start drinking water because that just spreads it. Eating spicy foods will induce labor. Now, that's not. Ken and I aren't worrying about that, but, some people might. There is no evidence for this. It's likely a confusion with the gastrointestinal irritation sometimes experienced in late pregnancy, or gas, or acid reflux kind of thing. Fact. Hot peppers are addictive. Is that a fact? No. It's a fact is while they cause the release of endorphins, pleasurable chemicals that make you want more, they are not physically addictive. Eating hot peppers will kill you. Fact, this is only true in extreme, unrealistic scenarios. Example, consuming 3 pounds of concentrated powder in one sitting. That might kill you. Myth, raw peppers are always hotter than cooked. The fact, cooking can sometimes concentrate heat or distribute capsicum even more evenly, although roasting can reduce it. Roasting your peppers can reduce it. Myths about growing hot peppers, and this one contradicts what Donnie's been experiencing over the years, where he has said when he's planted hot peppers next to his green peppers, the sweet peppers turn hot. We've often debated that, and Ken and I have said, it doesn't make sense because growing hot peppers, sweet peppers together makes the sweet ones hot. Fact, cross-pollination affects the seeds of the next generation, not the fruit of the current plant. So there you go. That was a myth. We're the mythbusters today, and getting rid of some of those myths with hot peppers. On that note, though, we're going to take a short break. We do have time for a couple of calls after we come back with the Garden Show after this short break. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to talk about this hot pepper thing is, it says, can peppers actually burn skin? Well, hot peppers don't technically cause a chemical burn, but they certainly make your body believe they have. The intense pain is a result of capsaicin is the proper name, an alkaline oil-like compound that tricks your nerves. Receptor hack. Capsaicin binds to TRPV1 receptors on your nerve endings. These specific sensors are designed to detect physical heat like a hot stove and pain. When the capsicum binds to them, they send a signal to your brain that is identical to the signal for an actual thermal burn. Hunan hand syndrome. Handling peppers without protection can lead to Hunan hand or chili burn, a painful condition characterized by intense throbbing, prickling, and redness that can last for a few hours to several days. Invisible damage, while it doesn't cause true tissue damage or scar tissue, the sensation can be so severe it's often rated as a 9 or 10 out of the pain scale. So how to stop the burn, we talked about that. Products like milk or yogurt containing casein, a protein that acts like a detergent to strip the capsicum from your nerve receptors. Oil, rubbing vegetable oil, olive oil, or coconut oil in your hands helps dissolve the chili oil, making it easier to wash off with soap. I'm going to use that, Ken, because I'll cut up a hot pepper for my breakfast when I put it on my tomato. On my tomato, and I do my baked tomato with cheese and onions and salsa, and I put some hot pepper on there. When I cut the hot pepper up, I get it on my fingers, and then I go into the washroom and I put my contacts in.
Nice combination.
Oh, yeah. You put your contacts in after you've been messing around with
your
peppers.
But it's just psychological. It doesn't really hurt your eye.
Oh, it doesn't burn your eye, but it hurts.
Yeah.
It doesn't burn it. Doesn't
cause
damage. No, it doesn't.
Won't cause blindness?
No, I've talked to the...
that's why they use pepper spray so much, for spraying people, because then no matter how bad it burns, they can still recover and maybe get their sight back,
No, it's not going to hurt them. Yeah, pepper spray will not hurt you. It definitely hurts you, but it doesn't. It's not an injury to you.
Right.
It feels like an injury, and your brain thinks it's an injury, and it says, "Oh my goodness, stop doing this."
This is an injury. Yeah.
I've been with folks that go to these hot wing nights, and you actually have to sign an affidavit saying that you can't sue the company if you feel like you got hurt because it's something else. And it's interesting how some people can tolerate it more than others. Some people can't stand it. My sister can't stand any kind of heat whatsoever, whereas I love heat. And then other people love it more than I do. They can withstand it more, and they really, it's good. And it does. Remember that time when somebody came into the garden center with a habanero? and I ate the habanero. And I ended up convulsing on the floor in agony.
And that's one of the lowest heat ones, but you've developed immunity to that now.
I was in agony.
Yeah.
I mean, habs are pretty good. They're depending on the unit you take. But I mean, if you eat the whole thing, because they sneak up on you, And anyway, so I was in agony, rolling around the floor. The staff in the lunchroom, really, I don't know if you were there for this, but the staff was really quite concerned. They were bringing in buckets
fire
of water,
extinguishers.
Man! And then all of a sudden, the high came over me. The dopamine started flowing into my my mind and my body. I wanted to do it again. It was amazing.
And that started the whole thing, probably.
Oh, it was amazing. You got to get through that burn.
The first one.
And the burn tells your brain that something's going on. Put out some feel-good hormones, and there you go.
It tells
the cheapest high you can get.
You didn't die. You're still alive.
I
and you
didn't
go,
die.
oh, thank God, I'm still alive.
Yeah, too much fun. Well, this has been a good show. These shows in the middle of winter are shows that we're digging for information and digging for fun things to talk about, and that's what we do at this time of year. We always appreciate the fact that we get some calls, and as spring comes on, the calls will get more and more because that's gardening season is right around the corner, and Ken and I are going to both be doing our gardening, starting our seeds, and that we'll share all that experience with you folks, and as we go into the new gardening year. I'm hoping we get some snow in the mountains. We really do need some snow in the mountains, Ken, right now in the Okanagan. Yeah. I know they're getting lots of precipitation down at the coast. They get their regular share of precipitation. However, the weather's so mild, they're not getting the buildup of snow. I mean, I hear Grouse and others areas.
A lot of the ski hills are just barely getting enough.
Yeah, Big White, they got a fair amount of snow. They got over a meter of snow as a base. But the problem is there's melt. And when it melts and then freezes at night, it turns to ice. And that's not good either.
So they've had some pretty good little amounts.
Yeah.
Just keep it so it's not too icy,
Well, they just don't want to warm up too much. Although it's sure nice in the spring, with spring skiing, when that sun comes out and you're still skiing in late March, early April, and you got that sun coming out. I've seen people up there in shorts skiing, which is fun too. But right now we need the snowpack, and that's what we're hoping for to get that spring runoff and fill up the lakes and fill up the rivers and fill up all the reservoirs and things like that. Very, very important to get that happening in our area here. And I know even down at the coast, they've had drought issues. They've had to go on water restrictions and whatnot. We've been on water restrictions here as well. But I think this year, if we don't get the snowpack and things aren't going to go, it's going to be an interesting year for us. We're going to have to really, really be careful of our water. Consider converting some of your property into more drought-tolerant xeriscape type of gardening. Don't have to do the whole thing right away, but if you like that area and you want to expand on that, you can do that too, because there are methods. But you want to take a little bit, check with the Okanagan Xeriscape people, because they really know what they're doing, and it's not something. It's a whole new gardening technique that you have when you get into that. It's not, you're not probably going to be familiar with it. So getting some advice on it before you get in there is good. One of the big things Ken and I have mentioned all the time is just because a plant is drought tolerant and you buy it on the shelf, drought tolerant plant, plunk it in the garden and don't water it, you're in trouble. They do need that initial getting set into the garden so they can spread the roots out and do their natural thing of keeping themselves alive without a lot of water. That's very important. And there's things like even my bath. I'm a bath guy. I mean, I do shower once in a while, but I just love to soak in a bathtub, and I like to soak in a deep bathtub. So I have been typically over the years a water waster when it comes to bath. So I'm going to start being more careful and not fill that bath up too much, being careful about what I use in water usage. And those are small things that you can do individually to, watch your toilet flushing and that sort of thing. And definitely out in the garden, don't just turn the sprinklers on willy-nilly. Think about what you're doing. Make sure some of the areas that don't need water don't get watered, and some of the areas that do need water, you can water by hand or have somebody come in and set your sprinkler system up so that those areas are treated differently than the ones that don't need too much water, and that kind of thing. So I'm just saying, early spring advice. We may have a rough one this year. It could be not fun. And of course, then the other aspect is, please watch what you're doing as far as using fires and things like that, because our fire season could be dreadful again this year too, which is not a good thing. We're now going to give you the tips and plants of the week and say goodbye. My tip of the week is last week's tip, actually. I warned against some cooler weather coming up. Well, it came and went, but we're still not out of the glue. The rest of February, we could get some bad stuff, so keep some of that thawed mulch handy just in case. And my plant of the week is the whole big family of Mammillaria, a group of cactus, one of the largest groups of cactus out there. Very common. You see them all over the place. Lovely little plant, the Mammillarias.
Alrighty, I also have a tip of the week, and my tip of the week is that you want to get in and check out all your overwintering plants, geraniums or brugmansias, the angel's trumpets, or whatever you have that were outside on your patio this year. Bring them in and have a close look at them, and make sure they have just the right amount of moisture at the root system. Now, plant of the week this week, Hamamelis mollis, the witch hazel, and starting to show some bloom here a little bit, and I know they're in full bloom, if not even finishing bloom down in coastal regions, but beautiful plant for winter. It's a great February plant, usually February for us, or even March, but this year a little bit earlier. All right, that's my tips and plants for this week. Remember to check Grower Coach on YouTube.
Perfect, Ken. And I had a homemaker's tip from Donna, but I didn't say it. Next week we'll bring that up. You'll be waiting to hear that. And my Shigo quote this week is: cracks will never be understood from the transverse plane only. Longitudinal radial dissection must be made not only to understand cracks, but other internal defects. So there you have it. We are going to say goodbye now, and we will see you again next week with more of The Garden Show.